here is making sure that we are preparing our students to succeed and to achieve and enter into the workforce. So as I look at it, I want to make sure I recognize the leadership of the district comes from our Board of Education. And I'm very pleased tonight that we have 4 of our board members in the audience. We have our President, Lynn Ebenkamp. We have our Vice President, Carrie Chen. We have our Board Clerk, Donna Friedman. And Board Member, David Nelson. So thank you for being here and supporting our community and hearing this for, I don't know, you guys probably recite this now with me. So I wanted to just kind of test your knowledge a little bit to see what you know about your neighborhood school district. What do you think the number 19 is? What is 19?
Number of schools.
Elementary schools?
Elementary schools, schools. So it is the number of schools that we have in the district. So it is the number of schools that we have in the district. What about 13,902? A good crowd. It's the number of students we have in the district. 2,342.
Teachers.
What do you think?
Staff.
Employees, high school students. It is the number of employees that serve in the district. So that includes our full-time, part-time, and many of our substitute employees in the district. 34. What is 34? Administrators. What else? It's the numbers of languages that are spoken by our students. So our students in our district, those 13,902 students, represent and speak as their primary home language 34 different languages. 3,879. 3,879. Students with special needs, it's actually students learning English. So there's 3,879 students in the district last year where English was not their first language and they had not yet been redesignated as being proficient in the English language. 1,349. There you go, students with special needs. So there's 1,349 students in our school district that have identified special learning needs or physical needs. 13,788. Number of students, it's close, yes? It's the number of meals we serve every single day. So you guys have company over, you think, oh, I'm gonna have to cook for my family or whatnot. So our Nutrition Services Department feeds and serves 13,788 meals every single day last school year. And there's 180 days in the school year, and then we also have summer feeding programs, summer meal programs as well. So doing some quick math, that's a lot of food. 73%. So 73% of the 13,902 students are either English language learners, come from low-income homes, or are foster youth. So 73% of the students of the 13,902 students that we serve in the district are either an English language learner, a low-income student, or a foster student, foster youth. 3,003. What is 3,003? Any guesses? Gate students. It's the number of students that are homeless in our district that we serve every day. So of the 13,902 students that we serve every day living within our community, 3,003 of them are identified as homeless. Now when we think of homeless, we tend to have a very stark definition of that. For the federal definition, it's living, they can be living in someone else's home that they are not related to. Might be renting a room, renting a garage. They could be living in transient housing in terms of living in a hotel or motel, some living in their cars and so forth. But 3,000 of our students do not have what we consider stable, consistent home. 110. 110. Any guesses? That's the number of foster children. So we serve 110 foster children. And that number changes because there's a lot of transiency and a lot of mobility with foster youth in our society and then in our school systems as well. So of our school district, 65% of our students are Hispanic or Latino, 21% are Asian, 8% are Filipino, 3% are white, 2% are African American, and 1% of our student population identifies as 2 or more of those ethnic compositions or ethnic breakdowns. So, you know, depending on the community where you live, you may not realize the diversity that our school district serves every single day. So what does a day look like? How do we serve our students? Well, we have tremendous employees across our district. We recognize our employees and select employees of the year to represent that over 2,000 employees that we spoke about. We have certificated employees, which are our teachers and our administrators. We have classified employees, which are all of our non-teaching personnel that help support the work that happens in the district. And our district could not operate without both of them working very closely together to serve the students each and every day. I wanted to go back, this should say actually 15 to 17. So the Rowland Unified School District is golden. We have, of our schools, we have 9 of our schools are recognized as California Gold Ribbon schools. That is the highest accolade or accomplishment or recognition that the state of California gives to our public schools. So 9 of our 19 schools in the last 2 years have been recognized as a California Gold Ribbon school. So that's quite an accomplishment and something that in our district that we're very, very proud of the work that we're doing to serve our students. If you have not been down Nogales, and as Fullerton begins to shut down, more people may be taking Nogales, so go a little bit further beyond the 60 and look at the completed construction at Nogales High School. So through our Measure R and the work that we've done through construction and the support of our community, Nogales High School opened in December, fully open for students to be in the new buildings in December of 15 and in January of 16. And so we've been into those new buildings, and it is fabulous. So thank you to the community for the support that you've given to the schools through our bond projects. If you haven't been by Rowland High School recently, Rowland High School is under construction. So there's a 22 classroom building towards the back of the campus. That is scheduled to open this fall, so we are on schedule, on time, a little bit ahead of time, and below budget at this particular moment. So that's a good place to be with construction. A 22 classroom building will be ready for students in August when they return on August 14th. And then the Performing Arts Center, a new administration building, a new library, additional classrooms, a new quad area, all are under construction now. And that will take at least another 2 years to finish. So it's been quite a transition this summer. There's a lot happening on the Rowland High School campus. We moved everybody off the campus. Summer school was held at Alvarado this summer. We're getting people moved back into different housing and different portable classrooms and offices and so forth as that existing campus is being demolished. We also have, each year, we do a showcase and a district tour day. So if you would like to see more in person about what's happening in 2018, I know it sounds hard to imagine, but February 3rd of 2018 is our district showcase day, and February 6th, I believe, is our tour day. There'll be a lot more information that will be available for you. But we bring our showcase, we bring all of our schools, all of our programs into one building. We've used this entire facility, tennis courts all the way down to the grass area, for the last couple of years to showcase what's happening in our district. And then on the Tuesday following the showcase, we open up all of our schools for tours. So you are welcome to come and see learning in action in our classrooms. We have lots of recognitions, lots of accolades, both academics, arts, and athletics. So these are just a few to capture. So Nogales and Santana High School have both participated in the solar boat competition. This is where students design their own boat, all of the mechanics that go around it, and have to compete against other schools, other high schools, in both an endurance race and a speed race using only solar power. It's done at Lake Skinner, and our students have the opportunity to go out and they camp for 3 days and compete in this competition. In athletics, we've had a great athletics season this past year with our high schools taking home league championships in basketball, swimming, tennis, wrestling, football, baseball, soccer, and track. So our students are very active not only in the classroom but on the athletic courts and fields as well. Our elementary schools are participating in all sorts of academic competitions, both locally and in the county, and some moving out to the state level as well. So this just is an example using Science Olympiad, and it was mentioned in terms of the classroom and expanding the learning that happens outside of a traditional 960 square foot classroom. These are students that are learning to compete in the science competitions and science area. We just had some students, 9 students just returned from Tennessee. They were competing for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America and placed in the first 3 positions representing our district. The other picture is looking at the Future Business Leaders of America. We had students that went to the national competition in Chicago representing our school district. And out of all of the nation, they placed 5th as well. So we have all sorts of opportunities for our students to achieve. This is representing an eco-challenge that students at Santana High School did, where they needed to design an eco-friendly project, and so they looked at water runoff and created their own garden through water runoff, and they won first place in a county environmental challenge. We also have our students that are earning lots of recognition to be able to continue and further their education. So we have the Gates Millennium Scholars. It is a fully funded academic scholarship for both tuition, room, board, and books for students for their bachelor's degree, and then many of them, it is funded through their master's degree and advanced degrees as well. So we have 4 students that are represented in the last few years that have had all expenses paid to further their education through the Gates Millennium Foundation. As I mentioned, there were 994 students that walked across the stage and collected their diploma with the Rowland Unified School District. And of those students, they earned over $3 million in scholarships to top colleges and universities to continue their education and to further their goals of participating and working in our society. I also wanted to make sure that you were aware that we are very strong advocates of the arts in the district as well. So this past school year that just completed, we provided elementary music program to every single student, grades 1 through 6, 1 hour a week, part of their regular curriculum. We recognize that many of our students, particularly when you're looking at the statistics of our district, many of our students would not have the opportunity to learn how to play an instrument or to sing or to participate in music festivals and so forth. And so that is part of a well-rounded education, is making sure that we introduce the arts. And so our elementary students all have the opportunity to participate in music education. That is a required part of their curriculum, and it is taught by credentialed music teachers. So when we look at our district, kind of what guides us? What's the work that we do? Why do we do the work that we do? Well, we promote, expect, and accept nothing short of excellence. We really have a collective commitment to be the best school district in California. And it does take all of us. It takes our community, it takes our employees, it takes our parents, our students, it takes all of us working together to make that vision become a reality. So we have a set of priorities in our district that guide our work, and our board is very actively engaged in helping us set these priorities and monitoring the progress in these priorities. So naturally, our #1 purpose and goal is academic achievement for all students. Not some students, but all students. And so in looking at that, our classrooms today look very different than when you and I went to school, and we'll share some of those ideas as we go through. But you'll see that students are working collaboratively. They're in groups. They are talking about what it is that they're learning. It's no longer sitting in rows like this presentation tonight, but they are really engaged in their learning. We are focused on making sure that students are college and career ready and that they have exposure to 21st century skills. We recognize that not every single student is going to go to college, but our goal is to make sure when a student crosses that stage, we have provided them with every opportunity so they have a choice. They can choose to go to a 4-year school, they can choose to go to a 2-year school, they can choose to go into the military, they can choose to go to a trade school, they can choose to go directly into the workforce. But we've prepared them for all of those opportunities as a district. So when we say college and career, we recognize that not every single student is going to go on to a 4-year university, but it is our responsibility to make sure that they're prepared for those choices that I mentioned. We also have a goal about communication and collaboration, and again, working together, and it's having opportunities like this to engage with the community. We have a very strong presence on social media, so for those of you who are fans of Twitter and Facebook and so forth, we are out there and we are sharing a lot of what's happening in our district. I've converted several of our board members to join and be part of Twitter as well, and tweeting out what's happening in our school district. We also have opportunities for communication through technology. We have some of the traditional means, of course, of communication with flyers and so forth, telephone calls, face-to-face meetings, lots of community opportunities to interface and work with our community as well. We have fiscal responsibilities, naturally, and we have to maintain our facilities. There's been a lot of trust in the community that's placed in the district, and so we need to make sure that we are maintaining our facilities. So we do have a whole LCAP process, as well as a budget cycle process that is ongoing. So it's not just one snapshot in time. It's something that happens continuously, as well as having audits. So we are audited both on our construction projects and our fiscal management of the general budget of the school district. And then we also make sure that we're engaging our community, and we have a strong focus increasing student voice and making sure students, it is amazing what students will tell you. You'll see the pictures here that we sit down and we talk with our students regularly. So we want to hear from them. And they will say the darndest things, you know, they say that about kids. But if you just ask them what's working, what's not working, what can we change, how can we make things better, they have several ideas, and they are, and as part of our community, they are our primary customers. That's who we're there to serve. So naturally, we have to guide some of it because we don't get recess all day. But they have profound ideas that they are very willing to share with us. We have looking at student and staff safety and wellness, and with our Family Resource Center. We have our Nutrition Services Department. We have nurses and health clerks that help provide student and staff safety and wellness. And then also a focus or a goal in the area of leadership. And for us, leadership is not based on the position title that you hold, it's the work that you do. And we celebrate that work regularly across the district. So this just happens to be evidence of a group of people that are lead learners, because we do expect that we're fostering learning amongst the district for all people. Learning is not just for students and those under 18 years of age. Learning is for all of us, and so we need to continue to stay current and to continue to model the qualities of being a lifelong learner. So our teachers and our classified employees and our parents often you'll find engaged in some sort of learning as they are active participants in the education of their children. We also, we do all of this work, again, for that primary purpose of supporting student learning and achievement. That is our ultimate goal. So when we look at the vision for our district, so where are we headed as a school district? What's the vision? Where are we going? So we talk often in our district about innovative learning for all. We talk about having rigor, relevance, and relationships, increasing student voice and choice, and having very strong content knowledge and pedagogy, which is supported by technology in the classroom. And I'll illustrate what some of those mean. So when we look at education innovation, we're preparing our students for their future, not our past. And sometimes that's difficult for us because it's what we're familiar with. We know the path that we've walked. We know our past. And education is one of those really interesting careers or choices or entities within our community, because many people feel that they're an expert in education because everyone in this room went to school. So when we have our law enforcement officers and so forth, we don't believe that we're experts in law enforcement because many of us did serve in law enforcement. But we all have an opinion and a background about education. And so we need to make sure that we shuttle our perspective and we recognize that we're preparing students for their future, not having it always like our past. So we talk a lot about what is their future, what is it going to look like, because it's vastly different than what the world is current today. So how do we know? So we do a lot of research and we look at it. And when we talk about what the class of 2028 seems like forever away, but our students that just completed the first grade are the high school graduating class of 2028. And so what's the world going to look like for them when they walk across that stage and they accept their diploma from the Rowland Unified School District? So we have a profound responsibility to prepare our students for a world that we don't yet know and don't yet recognize. And it's not part of my past or the past of the employees that we have that are working for us. And so we need to think outside of the box. We need to go beyond what we're comfortable with, oftentimes, to be able to recognize what it is that our students need to make sure that they're prepared for that world, not exactly what we're living in today, and again, what we had from our past. So how do we do that? And I mentioned about relationships and relevance and rigor. And so we need to make sure that we're building connections and that we're making the work meaningful, we're making the learning meaningful, we're connecting it to something that we understand, and that we consistently have high expectations for all, not just students, but everyone. Our community, our parents, our staff, and our students. When we look at it, we also have to recognize that learning is messy. It is not a quiet, neat classroom with individual students sitting in their individual desks in rows, and it's not necessarily a straight linear line from point A to point B. There can be squiggles along the way. There can be lots of noise in a classroom. And I remember, early in my career, you always wanted your classroom quiet. And I am very clear with our staff now, if I walk in your classroom and I could hear a pin drop, and they're not taking some sort of state assessment, then I'm concerned. There needs to be some conversation, there needs to be some noise in the classroom about learning, not about the prom, but about learning. So as we look at that, as we look at that work and we're talking about 21st century skills, we want our students to be talking about how they're solving problems so that they're becoming critical thinkers. We want them to be collaborating across networks, and we want them to be able to be strong communicators, to be agile, to be able to adapt to changing needs. Because as we look at what the world is going to potentially look like in 2028, they have to be curious, they have to have an imagination, and they have to have a strong interest in continuing to learn and to grow. So the role of the teacher, again, is to create the conditions of invention rather than to provide ready-made learning. Our students we have to continue to foster that curiosity in them so that they are interested in learning and wanting to know what comes next. There's a huge infusion of technology, and our district strongly supports technology in our classrooms for our students for learning, but it's not about a device. It's about the learning that can happen through utilizing technology appropriately. So it is very, very different, because now, it used to be a time that the teacher had all the knowledge, and students came to the school because they had to get the knowledge that the teacher had. Well, now, in all these phones that we have in our purses, in our pockets, there's more knowledge, more information that's stored in a cell phone, in a smartphone, than any human could ever have. So students have access to information in a much different way than what we had when we were growing up. And so we do support technology in our classrooms. We have strong advocates for infusing technology into learning. But again, it's not about the device. Nobody gets super excited about a pencil. And so we don't get super excited about laptops or Chromebooks or iPads. It's what that device can do to further the learning for students. Sometimes it's a good reminder for us as adults to look at the accelerated technology evolution, because we didn't grow up in this era with technology. When you look at students who are at the university level right now, were born, actually they're probably beyond now at 2017, but they were born at a time when the internet was already in play. So they don't know a time when there was no internet. They don't know a time, for the most part, when there wasn't Google. When we look at our students in the K-12 setting, for our youngest learners, they've had iPads since they were born. They have had all of these devices that we are still trying to figure out and wondering, how do we fumble with some of these things? So they're what we call digital natives. This is natural to them. They don't know a world without it. So as we're learning it, it just comes natural to them. That's what they know. In 2006, there were 0 smartphone applications, no apps. There were no smartphones in 2006. In 2017, this year, it's predicted that the app business will be a $77 billion a year industry. So in a relatively short period of time, 11 years, we've gone from not having a smartphone to having something that we had never thought of previously being a $77 billion a year industry. That's what we're trying to think ahead for our students, who again are young learners, that what's the world going to be like for them in those 11 years. So when we talk about innovative learning for all, what is this innovative learning for all? Sounds like a nice little catchphrase. What is this? So sometimes it's easier to talk about what it is not. So it's not a technology initiative. Although yes, we have a lot of technology in our district. We deployed, this past school year, we deployed over 5,000 devices to our students to use in the classroom to further their learning. But it's not a tech initiative. It's also not a new assessment or accountability plan. And yes, we have new state assessments in place. And yes, we have demonstrated performance assessments throughout the school year. We make sure that we're doing benchmark assessments to see where students are in terms of the learning so that we can reteach. But it's not about the testing. It's also not about California state standards. It's not about Common Core. It's not about pacing guides or benchmarks. It's not about professional development, but we do have a tremendous amount of professional development. We have 19 instructional coaches that support our teachers. If a professional athlete can have a coach, professional educators can have coaches as well to continue to hone their skills and work at their craft. So we have our teachers and our classified employees participate in staff development and professional growth opportunities all throughout the year. It's not a flipped classroom model. But we do have a learning management system. We do have the capability of doing that, where a teacher can provide instruction to students that they can watch at home on a device, and then come in and have that guided practice in the classroom with the person who has that content knowledge as well. So we use Schoology, which is a learning management system. It's not a preparation for bubble tests. It's not, answering questions at the back of the chapter. It's not about completing worksheets. And so what is it? So we've identified all of these things that it's not. What is it? So when we talk about innovative learning for all, it really is a transformation of teaching and learning that integrates technology to engage students in rigorous, meaningful work with the potential to change lives. We are working at changing lives. So we look at the connectivity. So our schools are connected, our teachers are connected, the world is connected. We have online libraries, and we are able to check out books without ever going to a library. Our students are connected, and through this network, it has really expanded the classroom walls. So again, our classrooms are 960 square feet. That's the size of our classrooms, but the learning is not contained within that 960 square feet. They can be talking to people across the globe with the utilization of technology to be able to further their learning. It's also important to recognize that the world has changed. And so it's interesting to know that there are more young children that know how to open a web browser than know how to swim. I don't know what's better now in this 110-degree temperature that we've had lately. There's nothing beats diving into a nice pool. 51% of 6 to 9-year-olds use social networks. Now, I'm not saying we support this or endorse this, because there are some parameters. Families need to make their own choices, but this is the reality that we live in. So life and workplaces have changed. In schools, we need to do the same thing. So our students will, as research supports, will have 13 jobs in multiple different careers in their lifetime, which is vastly different from what most of us have experienced. When we think about what is their world, what are they growing up in, what is commonplace for them, the world's largest taxi company owns no taxis. That's Uber. So, we catch a cab. They go on their smartphone and grab Uber or Lyft to come and pick them up. The largest accommodation provider has no real estate. They own no hotels, and that's Airbnb. The largest phone companies own no telecom infrastructure, Skype and WeChat. The most popular media owner creates no content. That's Facebook. The world's largest movie house owns no cinemas. They own no theaters. You don't go anywhere. It comes to you through Netflix. So this is their world. This is what they're growing up in. So why do we look at innovative learning for all? Why do we focus on innovative learning for all? Well, there's human reasons. So humans are unique. We're not standardized. We also are curious by nature, and we're creative. And so we need to foster that in our classrooms. We need to foster that with our students and their learning. There also are economic reasons. So Gallup did a study, and that study showed us that 80% of elementary school students were engaged. Not bad. 80%. Not bad. We could improve, of course. Elementary students are engaged. We're doing okay. But then it told us that 60% of middle school students are engaged. So we're going in the wrong direction. 40% of high school students are engaged. So 40% of the students that are sitting in high school classrooms are really engaged in the learning. We need to do something different, because it's preparing for the workforce, where there's 29% of the United States employees are engaged. Which of those people would you like to employ? So if there's 29% of our employees in the United States that are engaged in the work that they're doing, we need to do something different. We need to be prepared. There's the globalization of the economy. In rough numbers, there's 7.4 billion people on Earth, 5.5 or 15 years and older. 3 billion of them would like to have good jobs, full-time, living wage. There's only 1.2 billion of those jobs exist today. So there's economic reasons where we want to make sure that we're the engaged ones that are there so that they can compete. So our students need to be able to not only compete for the jobs that are available, but they also have to have the curiosity, creativity, initiative, and innovation in order to create jobs. Because somebody had to think of Uber, Somebody had to think of Facebook and Airbnb and those things that are part of our daily culture today. So what will it be like for those first graders in 2028? What will they create? What will they be able to do? So we need every single student to be successful for a strong community, a strong economy, and a strong nation. Well, one of the things that we've done is provided this opportunity of learning that takes place in our classrooms. So this was shot this school year.
As a district, we're dedicated to innovative learning for all. Over the years, education has changed tremendously, as it should, to meet the changing needs of students, society, the workforce, and the world. Hello, I'm Dr. Julie Mitchell, and I'm the proud superintendent of the Rowland Unified School District, where we educate students from preschool to adulthood. As you take a glimpse into the journey of learning at our classrooms, I think you may be surprised to see the changes and how the Rowland Unified School District is transforming student learning and achievement. I assure you, our classrooms look very different from what you or I experienced growing up.
You know, when I was a kid, we would sit in rows. The teacher would be up front, and the students were all quietly listening to the teacher, and the teacher was sort of this disseminator of knowledge.
We all did the same exact workbook pages at the same exact time.
Because I remember when I was in 7th grade, our research project consisted of going, to the library and going to the card catalog and go to the bookshelf, pull out the encyclopedia, and that was sort of your source of information.
I can still remember classrooms where the teacher was very much a lecturer. Today that has gradually been changing. It's because of different expectations we have of students. Today we expect students to be more critical thinkers. We expect them to work, collaborate and work with others. We expect them to be creative, and we definitely want to foster them to be better communicators.
Well, ideally, a classroom of today has much more student talk and less teacher talk.
The teacher is very much more a facilitator, a mediator of thinking, and so because of that, the configurations in the rooms have changed. We have students sitting in teams.
And now, kids don't need the teacher to be the center of knowledge. The smartest person in the room sometimes is the entire room, and we need to gather that collective wisdom to push our kids further.
In addition to maintaining our strong emphasis and commitment to the core academics of reading, writing, and math, Rowland Unified is transforming our schools. This transformation is taking place through the hard work and dedication of our remarkable employees, who ignite student learning with the help of personalized, innovative educational technology, accelerating student learning and opportunities.
If we're really going to prepare kids for their future, we need to shift our instructional system to give them the skills for that future. Those skills, for example, are problem solving and collaboration, that 21st century skill set where they can create new industries, where they can cure diseases, where they can solve problems. You see, our jobs as schools is to prepare our kids for their world ahead.
When I start working with a teacher, I'll always ask the question, what do you want your students to be able to do? So it's not about making our teachers better so much as making our students more successful.
There are just so many amazing educators that are willing to go above and beyond to participate in all kinds of different professional development.
And I really think this new way of learning prepares students for that global society where they're going to be working with people from all over the world. We're really creating strong citizens that understand what a global community means.
Pen, paper, and chalkboards, the traditional tools used for learning, have made way for the digital world. Today, the student's learning experience pops off the screen. It's dynamic and interactive, creating a higher level of engagement and enthusiasm to learn and explore. As Rowland Unified expands the use of technology in our classrooms, it's important to note that these changes are not about the device. It's about the learning. Each day, our dedicated educators provide rigorous learning opportunities focused on challenging students and preparing them for their future as we expand anytime, anywhere learning.
Now students have mobile technology, and they have all the information at their fingertips.
And so we might have students using an iPad, and on that iPad they might be working on some sort of presentation of what they've learned. Perhaps they are looking at additional research to back up the claims they have.
Kids are excited to come to school and learn and interact with their friends, with their teachers. They know that they're going to be working on something that's meaningful and relevant to them. We're working towards each student has either an iPad or a Chromebook that they're able to use. And it's not for playing games. It's really to enhance their learning experience.
And you go into classrooms now in Rowland, and students are talking, they're interacting. They're working together, they're collaborating.
Students not only collaborate verbally, but also digitally by using Google Docs and other tools where they create a document, share it, and collaborate with one another, coming up with ideas together, participating in real-world experiences, and expanding opportunities for their learning and achievement.
So when we start off, we look at the assignment, and if sometimes we don't understand the assignment, we ask our questions.
We first go on Schoology. You just write a comment, then you post it. It sends a message to everyone in the classroom.
If we're at home, then we can comment, and then we can share our comments, and somebody can answer.
Do you need any help? Then I'll put yes in it.
It's so important because it makes learning easier, more fun, and it's faster to do stuff than on paper.
It allows us to collaborate, and if Jacobin has a question and Kylie has a question, maybe I can answer it, or if they could help me answer a question instead of getting the answer wrong, we can help each other by collaborating.
Learning now extends well beyond the walls of our classrooms and opens doors for our students to communicate with other students.
Third grade classroom in our district. The students were working on a science project about endangered species. They had a lot of questions, so their teacher connected with a marine biologist via Skype. The students were able to interact in real time and get the answers they needed. Our classrooms today have no barriers when it comes to connecting to the world to gather information.
Giving our students the tools, which reach beyond the four walls of a classroom, allows our students to research, communicate, and learn in a modern way. Additionally, our teachers encourage students to be creative and collaborate with one another, motivating them to think critically and creatively.
The Creativity Lab is a problem-solving space where kids are taking everyday objects and using them to build and create something that solves some kind of a problem. They take the objects that may not look like they're going to solve this problem, but by their conversations, their interactions, their creativity, their thinking out loud with each other, they're able to solve problems.
We're not afraid to try new things, and we practice what we preach. We ask our children to take risks, to ask questions, to be different. As a district, we are doing that.
This is where 21st century learning is happening. Rowland Unified is at the forefront of everything that's good in education. Robotics is a rapidly expanding program available to our students beginning in the early elementary grades and expanding through high school. Learning to code, program robots, and problem solve challenges our students to think differently and prepares them for careers that haven't even been created yet.
Robotics has been a program that has started at several of the middle schools and some of the elementary schools, giving them the opportunity to participate in academic competitions.
The students are actually building and programming a robot, and they'll program it to complete different missions. They actually get to select which missions they want to work on.
Rowland Unified has always been committed to developing a well-rounded student. With innovative learning for all as our primary focus, that learning takes place not only in academics, but also through the arts and athletics. Our academic program is very strong in the core subjects of English, math, science, and history, but also in the areas of technology, engineering, and career technical education. Our strong academic focus is coupled with robust visual and performing arts programs. Unique to Rowland Unified is that every student in grades 1 through 6 participates in music education as part of their regular school day. By offering academic programs and exposing students to college and career industries, combined with the arts and athletics, our students are prepared for their future.
I think it's really important, and I know Rowland does a very good job of this, is focusing on the whole child. The social, emotional sides of things is one aspect to it, but also not leaving behind the arts and the music and those different types of pieces, because many of our kids, they come to school for band, they come to school for chorus, they come to school so in art class they can create.
So students are taking classes that are unconventional, so they have the math and science, but they could also challenge themselves and be in architecture, engineering, biomedical, business.
The future is here, and never before is that more a reality than when you see what our young minds of today are creating and the impact they have on the world. The shop class of yesterday has been transformed into the architectural, engineering, and design class of today. It still has drafting tables and jigsaws, but also as computers, advanced software, and 3D printers. Students are designing, creating, and developing things that make a difference in people's lives.
In this class, we're planning to make prosthetic arms that will help people like in developing countries that can't afford actual metal prosthetic arms. The feeling to be able to help someone in need, like with something that you did, it's amazing. Your only boundary is your imagination. With these machines, you can create anything you can think of. Rowland has helped me get the skills I need to be able to get a leg up on other people.
If you look at what industry leaders are looking for, they're looking for people that can communicate, can work with others, they can be creative.
Who wants to bring me their book? Bring me your book so I can read it.
From a student's very first day in a kindergarten classroom, our district is preparing children for success. We create a college-going culture, starting with our youngest learners, opening their mind to possibilities that they themselves may not be able to imagine. Carlos Lopez, a 2016 graduate, was one of those students who did not have the confidence or vision that he would finish high school, much less attend college. From a young age, he planned to follow in his father's footsteps by making a living as a gardener. However, as the result of dedicated educators planting seeds of opportunity and options, a much different story unfolded.
My goals started to change when I was in middle school. My goal was maybe probably to finish high school, and then maybe after that, started working with my dad in gardening services. I feel very prepared in life now because of my education. All these programs from the Rowland Unified School District definitely helped me a lot, especially for middle school, moving on towards high school, definitely prepares me for college. I'm glad to say that I'm attending Cal Poly Pomona, which I'm going to be studying international business.
The students enrolled in the Rowland Unified School District are amazing. They are excited and motivated to learn, to try new things, and prepare themselves for the future. As a school district, we are dedicated to doing whatever is necessary, whatever is possible to prepare our students for success. Each and every student deserves our very best, and nothing less will do.
Rowland is absolutely one of those districts that nationwide is doing an incredible job when it comes to creating opportunities for kids that would not be possible through the use of technology, through new teaching methods. You see, not every district is like that.
And so it doesn't matter what corner of the school district you might attend, you're going to have some really amazing educational experiences.
We are being innovative, we are being progressive, we are truly ahead of the game. There are things that we're doing that I don't see very many other districts doing. I wish we learned this way when I was a child.
We have the capacity to really change teachers' practices and change students' lives.
I am 100% confident that when the students leave Rowland Unified School District, they will be prepared for their next step in life.
The Rowland Unified School District, dedicated to making a difference for every student, every day.
Filmed last September, so just shy of being a year ago. And so nobody was paid in the filming of that. There were no actors. That's what is happening every day in our classrooms across our district. So it looks vastly different from when I was in school, and I believe probably when you all were in school as well. So when we're looking at our district is definitely on the right course. We have academic achievement for all. We're preparing students for their future, not teaching based on our past. And we're making sure that they have a voice, and that we're really fostering and keeping alive their curiosity to learning, so that can continue. When we look at it overall, here's our board president at our latest graduation with Laura Martinez as one of the students that's pictured there accepting her diploma. So I want to thank you for your support of our district. I also want to recognize when I went back through, or acknowledge when I went back through the numbers, I want to make sure that you also realize that there's a large geographical area that our district serves. So when I was looking at those numbers, we serve the unincorporated Los Angeles, Rowland Heights area, the city of Walnut, the city of La Puente, the city of Industry, and the city of West Covina. So we have a broad geographical area that we serve where those 19 schools are located and where we draw those 13,902 students where we're making a difference in our world and most importantly in theirs. So thank you very much for allowing me to come and share with you a little bit about our district. And I'd be happy to answer some questions after.
I have a question. You showed the one slide where you showed what percentage of the kids were engaged in each thing. What would how would you say roll in comparison to that?
So I would say, in terms of, Ted was asking about the level of engagement, and this was a National Gallup study that they had done, and it's a little bit dated at this point. I would love to be able to tell you that 100% of our students are engaged 100% of the time, but that wouldn't be an honest statement. But I would say particularly those numbers, the elementary I think are probably right on target. Our middle school numbers I believe are higher than that Gallup, and I would definitely say our high school numbers are much higher than what that Gallup study says at 40%. And you saw evidence of what our students are doing in the classroom, and you can't compete, you can't participate unless you're engaged. Yes, ma'am.
Hold on, wait for the mic, please. Sorry. So everyone can hear you.
So with all this technology, how are kids with special needs taught? Like let's say a child with autism.
Sure. So as the numbers showed, we have 13,049 students, or 1,349 students that have identified learning needs. And so our students are mainstreamed as much as possible into our general education classrooms. And they're provided support to learn and to achieve. And so they're engaged in technology. And the example you just had given is one about a student with autism. Oftentimes our students that are on the spectrum and have symptoms of autism are very much engaged in technology. That often fits right in with what their learning modalities and styles are. Not everyone, but they participate along with their peers. They often will need things to be differentiated in terms of the way it's taught or the way it's learned or the way they present their knowledge back to us so that we know that they have content knowledge has been absorbed, but they are participating right along with everyone else. It does. So sometimes when you have students that have sensory issues and you can be in classrooms, sometimes our classrooms can be loud. And so we have accommodations. There are some students that if we're doing music class, for instance, sometimes our students with heightened sensory issues, that might be too loud for them. And so we have support for them through our special education staff and our general education staff to make sure that their learning needs are met through their individualized education plan. Yes, sir?
Dr. Mitchell, it looks like our school district loses about 12% on the average of all three of the high schools if we don't count that one that's way out of our area here. What do you see the trend with this new technology, and what do we have percentage-wise 10 years ago that did not graduate from high school? Are we trending up? Are we trending down? I know Rowland Heights pushes real good towards the top people, pushes real good towards the bottom people, and it's set in the community that most of the others are herded through. So with that 12%, I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but being active in soccer through the community, kids from small, higher, many years, and listening to their stories and how they were listening to high school, Rowland High School, not necessarily Nellis, which has a little bit less percentage of graduates there. From 10 years ago, where are we at today, and then where do you see us with this new technology?
Sure. So our graduation rate is at 89%, and that is not satisfactory to me. It's up 3% from what it was, so we are on an upward trend. It's difficult to compare it to 10 years ago because the data was collected very differently 10 years ago. And so, as even when we look at the data, the state determines the measurement and how we measure graduation rate. You and I would think it's very simple. You walk across the stage, you graduate. You don't walk across the stage, you didn't graduate. But there's all sorts of other criteria that the state provides as well. So I unfortunately can't compare 10 years ago because in those numbers and statistics, it would be a different measurement tool. Again, it's very, you and I would Did you walk across or did you not walk across? But I can tell you that our graduation rate is trending up, and that we are seeing increases in graduation rates. And that rate does not take into account, one of the things that's difficult is if a student leaves our district and does not leave the country, or does not, we do not get message back that they've enrolled in another school within the state or within the country, that student is counted as a dropout. We know that that's not accurate 100% of the time, that students do leave the Rowland Unified School District. They attend schools outside of our state, or Northern California, or they leave the country. But if we don't have record of where they've gone with their identification number back to the California, they have an SCID number, they are counted as a dropout. So we calculate, we track those now and watch those numbers very carefully as well. And we also do a very deep dive when we look at the numbers of students that did not graduate. Then why? Why did they not graduate? What happened? What took place? Was it credit deficient? Was it someone that moved? Was it someone that, what happened? What took place? So that we make sure that we know we can provide, if they're still here, we can provide them the support through adult education or continuation of high school to make sure, again, because our goal is that they get that diploma. But it is on the upward trend.
Very good. And then the new construction that we've done in both of our high schools located right here, what percentage of those are including administrative rooms and offices, and what percentage are actual classroom learning environment?
So both of the high schools do include new administration buildings. So Nogales High School does have a new administration building, and as does Rowland High School have a new administration building.
Why would that be? Why wouldn't we concentrate on classrooms other than new offices for yourselves and staff?
Okay, fair question. So some of it is, there are offices that are there. There's a lot of work that happens in the classroom, no doubt. There's also work that takes place in offices as well. And so some of it is part of Nogales High School. The administration building is on the bottom floor and classrooms are on the top. At Rowland High School, the administration will be on the bottom floor and the library will be on the top floor. So yes, there are resources that have been spent on administration building.
Every time on building.
So in those two schools, I 100% agree. That is an absolute factual statement. And there are people that have the opinion. I think that what you're expressing is, why is it on the adults? It should all be on the kids. And so we will have a slightly different of opinion because there's a lot of work that happens in those spaces as well. And some of it is when you're demoing property or demoing existing buildings, those are buildings that also, they need to be modernized because students are in them. And there's a long litany of the expectation of earthquake and seismic building requirements that when a certificated staff or students are in the building, they must meet certain criteria. As well as whenever you do any type of construction, it has to be brought up to full ADA accommodations. And our existing buildings did not, which include our administrative buildings, and they needed to be modernized as well. So there's your point is very well taken.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to get you, especially the future. See 2028. One thing is the language, and popular language will be Chinese. If you go to China right now, if you speak English in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, you don't know how many people understand English. Around the old Chinese, but I can say maybe 30%, maybe 50%. A lot of people, they know English. That's why in the future, the most popular language will be Chinese, because Chinese people learn a foreign language. And the problem is the last year, my last son had to send to the Heights because there has Chinese class, but they're not in Rowland Heights. And at this point, the whole problem can improve. Thank you.
Your point is very valid, and our board has brought that to our attention as something that we've been working on, and we've done a year's study on a dual language Mandarin program, and we are looking to implement that in the 18-19 school year. So we have some Mandarin programs that are starting, several after-school Mandarin programs that are within the district boundaries, but you are correct, we do not have a dual language Mandarin program. And so we have are preparing for that for opening in the 18-19 school year. We do have 2 Spanish dual immersion programs that have been in existence for some time and are very successful, but we do need to address the Mandarin needs as was evident there in the video. You're welcome.
We have time for, actually we don't have time. We'll take one more question. And then we're going to have to leave because Mr. Kim's going to lock our cars in if we don't. So.
Sorry, really quick. I have a question because you're saying the future is going towards technology.
Yeah.
Now, what happens with the children